From sightings that came long ago and are the stuff of local legends, all the way to military experts and explorers' sightings, to even a sighting that went viral on TikTok. We've got some huge snakes to talk about today as we dive into the top 10 terrifying snake sightings that could be the Titanoboa. Starting off in our number 10 spot, we have the military mission. This story is one that is said to have come from a Peruvian ex-commando named Juan Carlos. He is said to have quite the resume that includes being able to survive for 11 days in the jungle with only his smarts and a small knife, and while that is certainly impressive, of course we are all here today to talk about his giant snake sighting. Juan Carlos explained that at one point in time when he was on a mission deep in the Amazon with his army unit, they encountered and subsequently shot a 40-foot long snake. He went on to explain that the leaders of the unit took the remains of the snake, which he now assumed are hanging on some officer's wall somewhere, which never allowed him to have the catch verified, but this story has only fueled his fire to once again encounter a snake of that size. Juan Carlos is absolutely certain that should he go out on an expedition, that he could find another giant snake that is over 30 feet, because he says he knows where the right places to look are. In our number 9 spot today, we have the TikTok sighting. According to the TikTok account Google Maps Fun, which is an account that shares fun or interesting things they found while searching the world through Google Maps, they seem to have found some sort of giant snake off of the coast of France. The TikTok, which was posted earlier this year, shows the images from Google Maps that seems to show a gigantic snake skeleton that the user states is, quote, about 30 meters long and bigger than any snake caught before. This of course has fueled many theories that this snake could in fact be a Titanoboa. The TikTok was circulated around the app and gained millions of views, and I can totally see why. It definitely would be a strange thing to suddenly come across while scouring satellite images. While everyone has been searching the Amazon, maybe the Titanoboa has just been in France all along. In our number 8 spot today, we have the Fisherman. This is a legend that comes from long ago, and it starts off somewhere in a rainforest in Peru. Hundreds of years ago, there was a fisherman who was from a tribe that lived near what is now the modern-day city of Pucallpa. He journeyed by canoe deep into the jungle and went off the main river path by following a little inlet that led to a hidden lake. He usually took this path as he knew the hidden lake was a great spot to catch food. As he got to his spot, things were very quiet, and he knew that that meant he was going to catch enough food for everyone. As he looked for the best place to cast his net, however, something began to stir in the water. As the fisherman looked up, he saw a great head emerge from the water right in the center of the lake. He suddenly realized that it was the head of a serpent, but not just any serpent, as the head alone was the size of the entire fisherman's body. The snake stared at him as he panicked and threw himself to shore. As he ran away as fast as possible, he turned and looked over his shoulder, only to see the snake moving toward him through the water. The fisherman was lucky enough to escape the giant serpent that day, and he returned back to the village with the story, which has lived on throughout the hundreds of years it's been since. This is why it is said that giant snakes might just be seen in any river or inlet of the Peruvian Amazon. In our number 7 spot today, we have the Borneo sighting. This giant snake sighting is said to have come from a few years ago, as there was a disaster team that was monitoring floods above the island of Borneo. The team is said to have been flying overhead in a helicopter when the sighting happened, and one member thought what they were seeing was so surprising they even snapped a picture. It is said that this gigantic snake could have been around 100 feet in length, which is absolutely insane, and the story and the photo went on to spark some concern among those who live in the area. It is said that this sighting only confirmed what locals in the area have long been worried about, which is the existence of an ancient sea serpent. Some even believe that this serpent has the ability to transform itself into different forms of animals. For me, that one might be a stretch, but who am I to say for sure? In our number 6 spot today, we have the Ranger. This is a story that is said to have come from a ranger who works near the Amazon River basin. On a day where he was patrolling around the area, he saw what he estimated to be a 45-foot long anaconda. The ranger took the people that he was telling the story to where he said he saw this gigantic snake, and they all began to try and spot it again. While they were on this search, they had a young boy with them who was from the area. As they got a little downstream from where they were initially initially looking, the boy showed them another spot that he explained that he and his uncle were when they saw a giant snake that came crashing through the weeds. The pair was of course extremely startled by this sighting and got out of there as soon as they possibly could. Since then, they've been on the lookout for the giant snake, but have yet to have another sighting. In our number 5 spot today, we have the Huntsman. This story starts off many years ago and it takes place in Peru. It is said that here a local huntsman went into the jungle in search of some game to feed his family. As he was on the hunt for food, the weather began to change and suddenly the sky began to get darker. He started a fire, but upon doing so, it is said that he felt the earth begin to shake, sort of like a small earthquake. This led to him putting out the fire. The following day, he was cutting through thick areas of the forest when he struck a large ancient tree trunk that he said was about 60 meters tall and blocking his path. At the base of this trunk, however, he then noticed a deer just standing there, which is obviously odd. As the hunter began to walk towards the deer, it suddenly disappeared into the base of the trunk. This is when the hunter suddenly understood that this is no tree. The trunk is the body of a giant serpent, and at the base there is a gigantic gaping mouth that is attached to a head that has red glowing eyes and horn-like ears. The hunter slowly backed away, realizing that the earth rumbling he felt the night before was likely the serpent being startled at the lighting of the fire. He evaded death because although he mistakenly struck the giant snake, it thankfully hadn't noticed, and without the deer there, he possibly wouldn't have even realized what was really going on. The huntsman was able to make it out of there and was sure to pass the story on when he returned home. This is the story or the legend of the Sashamama, which has been around for centuries. Many believe that the tales of this creature were in fact inspired by the very real existence of the Titanoboa. In our number 4 spot today, we have Percy's sighting. Percy Fawcett is a famous explorer who is best known for his search for the lost city of Z, but he is also known for his alleged Titanoboa sighting. In 1906, it is said that he was traveling through the Amazon River when he came across a gigantic snake. He didn't even only claim to see it though, he also claimed that he shot it. He said the snake was 65 feet long and that it was at least 1 foot in diameter. After his alleged shot, it is said that the snake sunk back down into the water and out of sight of the explorer. No one is quite sure of what happened to this gigantic snake after its encounter with Percy, but he is said to have had no doubts over what exactly he saw in the river that day. In our number 3 spot today, we have tunnels. There were a couple of adventurers or explorers or whatever you want to call them who went to Peru in search of the Titanoboa. As part of their research, they of course spent time speaking with those local to the area so as to hear their stories of the giant snake in the hopes of maybe getting some insider info on where they could find it. They explained that one night when they camped at a village on the Samaria River, they spent an entire evening listening to these types of stories and they were absolutely astounded. One person explained seeing a 60-foot-long snake that was half in the water and half out. After hearing this story, it is said that an elder from the village explained that the giant snakes use underground tunnels in order to move between lakes, which is probably the most terrifying thing I've ever heard, but this could explain why, should the Titanoboa still exist, it is rarely ever seen. In our number 2 spot today, we have the duo. In 2009, a man named Mark Warner and his son Greg traveled from Northern Ireland to the Amazon basin in search of this gigantic snake that legends are made of. They were determined to capture evidence of its existence, and they assembled a team and set out on a mission to prove it. They surveyed their selected areas through aerial views and set off on their adventure. After 12 days in the jungle, surviving through intense weather and taking hundreds of photos and videos, it is said that they did end up capturing a photo of what they claimed to be a huge snake, bigger than any other, measuring around 40 meters or 131 feet long and 2 meters or 6 feet wide. That is an unbelievable size. Many people of course have been a bit suspicious about these claims, but the pair are determined to head back out on another expedition to capture the creature again. It seems as though we might just have to wait again to see if the pair really can pull it off. In our number 1 spot today, we have the Maine Monster. This is a snake sighting that comes from Maine, and it has been confusing people ever since. Originally posted on the Facebook page of the Westbrook Police Department, they wrote, quote, "We have received a legitimate report concerning a very large snake present at the Riverbank Park. The report was the snake is as long as a truck and the head the size of a soccer ball. The snake was reportedly observed on the riverbank to the rear of the playground on both the Main Street and Brown Street side of the river." Okay. Definitely not what anyone in the neighborhood wants to hear, especially not from the police page itself, but things only went on to get more concerning. A few days later, an update was posted to the page that included a photo. This photo showed a huge shed snakeskin that looked as though it was shed quite recently. Any snake that thing belongs to has got to be too large for comfort. This went on to create quite a local legend, and rumors about what this humongous creature could be began to spread. While this may not be the largest snake on this list, the proof of its existence certainly is chilling. It is said that people even tested the skin to see what kind of snake it belonged to, and rumor has it that there was in fact some Titanoboa DNA found. Alright guys, that has been our list for today. Thanks so much for checking it out. Have you ever spotted a Titanoboa? Let us know down below in the comments. I've been your host today, Olivia Kozlowski, and I'll see you guys again soon. Goodbye!